Hello world, Prince here, and welcome to my channel, Gentlemen and Scholars, where we discuss literature, style, personal development, and so much more. All right, so for today's topic, we're gonna go over girls to stay away from, and I'm gonna go over 3 types of women to avoid. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So as I sit here on this lake, it's a very nice day, about to go for a run. I was pondering my past relationships, and I thought it would be great to touch on some of the bad ones to give you insight on what to look for in terms of what to avoid. So let's just go ahead and get into the first tip. So tip number 1 is to avoid women who are not nice. When you talk about qualities to look for in women, this is quickly risen to my top qualifier. If a woman is not nice to me, I really want nothing to do with her. And it really makes me think of a past relationship I had not too long ago with a woman who had a lot of potential, but she just deep down was not a nice girl. So to preface, one day I'm driving down the street and I see this beautiful woman come out of a grocery store carrying a bunch of groceries. And I'm thinking, wow, I really want to meet this woman. I saw her go past the main road and onto a less busy road. And I thought, what the heck, why not go and meet her? So that's what I did. I went right up to her, said, hey, you know what, I want to meet you. What's your name? And she was, smiling really hard. And I got her number right there. And within 30 minutes of meeting her, she ended up texting me right back. We got on the phone, FaceTimed, and set up a date to meet. So fast forward a couple dates in, things are going good. However, I am starting to notice some things I don't like. She had a habit of making sort of like snarky comments. I can say the one thing I did appreciate about her is that she sort of told it how it was. But, the one thing I did not like about her is she told it how it was. It was a sort of double-edged sword. So I remember one night after a date, we were sort of sitting in the car talking, and she mentioned, hey, like, when am I going to see you again? So at this point, I'm dating a few women. So I really did not know when I would be available next. So I was a little unsure, but she said, hey, listen, I'm going to cook for you. So I ended up finding time, and I think we set up a date for that following weekend sometime. So fast forward to the date, I show up on time and I give her a call on FaceTime, hey, like, are you ready? Like, I'm downstairs. She's like, no, I'm not ready. So I'm end up waiting outside, waiting and waiting. Then it's 15 minutes go by. I give her another call back, like, hey, like, I'm waiting for you. You mind if I just wait in your place while, you fix things or get the place ready or whatever. And so she ends up letting me in after some back and forth. So I'm waiting in her place as she's cooking this food. And I think about 30 minutes go by as I'm just sitting on her couch, no TV on, some music playing in the background. But long story short, I'm bored. So I had brought some champagne with me. So I'm thinking, all right, you know what? I brought the champagne. I might as well indulge a little bit. I walk into the kitchen where she was and I say, hey, do you have like a glass that I can use? I brought the champagne with me. She says, oh yeah, they're on the table. So I go look at the table. There's no glasses there. She's like, sort of like ignoring me as I'm talking to her. And I'm like, all right, like, where are the glasses? So I go to open one of the doors to the cabinet and she just totally loses it. She flips out, hey, I'm a Caribbean woman. You never do that in a Caribbean woman's house. You should have asked me. This is my house. I do things the way that I want to do them. Mind you, she's been in my place before at this point. She's been in my refrigerator. So I really didn't see it as a big deal. And it really didn't bother me that she had those rules. It was just the way that she was enforcing those rules. She thought it was okay to talk to me that way. And, really that was like a huge red flag for me. Back to the story, I sort of try to diffuse the situation with a little bit of humor. And then I go to pour myself champagne. And then she makes one last comment to sort of top it off. She says, you're just mad that I talk to you like a child. And at that point, I had it. I said, hey, listen, do we have a problem? Because I can leave if we do. And she says, oh no, we don't have a problem, but hey, if you took it that way or if you're offended, then hey, you can leave. So I get my stuff and I go to leave, and she follows me to the door. She puts her foot on the door and she's, going back and forth. And it was just way too much drama. Long story short, you want to avoid these types of women altogether, because with her, it was clear to me she had some insecurity issues. I remember taking a little while to text back because I was busy with work and things of that nature. And she would text back multiple times. I remember at one point, I took like a day to text her back. And she said she had deleted my number. The only reason that she knew it was me is because I had a California number. That was, sort of telling to me. You also want to avoid women that are deceptive. I remember this one girl that I went to school with, who I was talking to at the time. And I guess I wasn't moving things along fast enough for her. So she ended up going on a Tinder date with a friend who she knew was my friend, and ended up telling me afterwards. She says or claims that nothing happened, but I just took it as a sign to, hey, you need to speed things along here or you could potentially lose me. Well, that didn't work for me. That was sort of the beginning of the end for me and the relationship with my friend who, went behind my back and went out with a girl who he knew I was talking to. Well, that relationship ended as well. So you definitely want to avoid deceptive people in general, especially ones that you are dating. You definitely want to make sure to avoid women who are chronically insecure as well, i.e. every woman on this list. But if you want further evidence, I can give you another example. So I once ended up dating this older woman who was actually in her 40s, which I didn't know at the time because she actually didn't look it. But I ended up meeting her one day while I was at the coffee shop. And, I'm getting some work done on my computer, and she just walks in, stares at me, and smiles. So I smile back. But even at that point, I didn't actually do anything. I continued with my work. She ended up getting some coffee and then sitting right next to me. At that point, I knew that she was into me, but I thought, I'm sort of focused on my work. I'm not even going to worry about that. It gets to be like an hour later, the store's about to close. There's not that many people left in the store. So she makes a comment to say, hey, like we're one of the only people left in here. And that was her sort of opening the door for a conversation. So I'm like, all right, I'll engage her. So we ended up talking, and it was a pretty good conversation. So I'm thinking, all right, there's something to this girl. I give her my number and say, hey, like, listen, we should keep in touch. Shortly afterwards, she ends up leaving. So pretty much every day and every hour afterwards, I was getting a follow-up text from her. It felt like, I'll be getting some work done. Maybe it was a little while since I texted her back, and she would follow up with another text. Hey, are you ignoring me? I haven't heard from you in a while. One of those things. So I did end up going out with her, but by the time it got to the date, I had pretty much made up my mind that this was not a woman that I wanted to be with. And then once we actually had the date, it really wasn't that great in my opinion. I was not going to see that woman again. So with that, I'm going to wrap this one up. I hope that gives you something to think about and gives you some things to look for as you go out and have these dating experiences. My name is Prince once again. If you have any questions for me, definitely feel free to give a shout, definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. That is very important. And if I missed anything or left anything out, definitely let me know in the comment sections down below. If you have some stories to share, things of that nature, that's always fun. Until next time, gentlemen and scholars.